Champions are not born. They're forged. This is about turning the ordinary into undisputed. Available now. Ade Oladipo, brought to you by Undisputed.
What's up, people? Welcome to Ade Gman episode 23, brought to you by the wonderful people at Undisputed. Remember, the Mexican Monster download is available. Just go to playundisputed.com. On that, very quickly, of all the people that are in that game, so ones that you've just added now. So Sugar Ray Leonard, who else? Andy Ruiz, Benavidez, Hector Camacho. Favorite fighter?
Oh, it's got to be Sugar Ray.
Okay, any answer would have been silly if it wasn't Sugar Ray.
I'd be literally, when his name comes into it, there is no other answer.
Yeah.
Sugar Ray Leonard every day of the week.
Without a doubt. You know who, let me word this correctly, who annoys me the most from that list?
Okay.
Yeah, so I've gone a bit negative here. I'm sorry, I'm getting a bit negative. Andy Ruiz.
Yes.
Because I don't want to say, obviously, look, no one had more potential than Sugar Ray Leonard, so I don't want to say he had more potential. That's silly. But he could have gone on and on. Like after he beat AJ, if he got in shape, imagine where he could have been right now.
It's a big what if. And listen, I love games. I love boxing games. Undisputed is a brilliant game. Just imagine the stats on Andy Ruiz that he has now. Imagine the stats on him had he actually pushed on after that and took his career serious. Yeah. Like, he'd be an OP character.
He hasn't fought since Jarrell Miller. So that's last summer. That's last summer. That was Crawford Madrimov.
And then prior to that, it was 2 years out of the ring.
Yeah.
Oh, man, like that's waste.
Yeah, so basically, we're going to see him on the game and maybe not the ring. That's
pretty much
it. That's basically it. All right, this is a big announcement. Let me turn properly so you guys can understand how big announcement this is. I've been teasing that we're going to do a meetup for years. And look, for so many different reasons, it just hasn't happened, right? I've been a bit nervous that no one would turn up. I didn't think you guys were interested. Well, you guys are interested. And the meetup is happening September 4th, King's Place, London. Tickets are available now. I'll put the link in the description below. Capacity is 200. So the hope is the tickets go. If they don't go, then it's me, you, and my family and friends that are going to turn up.
Oh, tickets are going to go. They are absolutely going to be shot out there. Yeah. Well, considering I've got friends back home, as soon as I told them about this event, they were like, we're coming over. So you'll have people from
I'm excited about
countries.
it. You're going to be there, obviously.
I'm going to be there.
Yeah, the Green Chair on tour. All right, enough of that. Let's get into this episode. Let's start with the boxing first. I did want to start with Fury, but let's do it in the correct order. Wilder, I've seen you in your videos. He's done. Put a fork in him.
I didn't say put a fork in him.
You didn't say put a fork in him, but I think you stopped saying it because I've been going at you to stop saying it. But Wilder, where is he?
Where is he?
Yeah, where is he?
No man's land. Look, I can't knock him that much because things I wanted him to do, he did do.
Such as?
Let the right hand go, which he hadn't been doing. Being more aggressive, actually looking like he was coming to take the guy's head off, which he was doing at times. But I still saw an old fight. I mean, the guy's nearly 40. He's not a young man. And those Fury fights were so punishing. Never mind the fight he had with Zhang with that knockout. I look at Wilder and think, like, look, I loved watching you in your prime. I love the fact that you were looking a bit like your old self in there. You were letting the right hand go from early. You put Herndon down a couple of times and you did close the show. Or you did not close the show when, Wilder out cold, but you got rid of him, which is all we can ask. But it's not the same.
Yeah, it isn't. People have said the Fury fights, the Zhang, Parker, you can remove all of those things and just say his age.
Oh, yeah.
Like 40 is 40. I mean, not everyone can be Bernard Hopkins.
Nope.
Like 40 is 40. Floyd at 40 looked like Floyd at 40. Do you know what I mean? So regardless of the fact he's taken beatings in his last few fights, he's a 40-year-old man. So why would it be there at 40? Why would he not look like he's a bit slower? Why would it look like the punch power was maybe starting to drain and wane a little bit? All those things. And then you add the fact he's taken a beating. You add the fact he's been out the ring a year. You add to the fact he's had shoulder surgery. He was, I don't know what people were expecting, but I was expecting that, basically. In fact, I was expecting worse than that.
Really?
Yeah, I was expecting him to look worse. I was expecting, like he actually, as you said, he actually went for the kill a couple of times.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
So my concern with Wilder going into that fight was like, he ain't going to pull the trigger. That was my thing with him. Like he ain't gonna, because he hasn't. In the last couple of fights, he hasn't. But obviously, he was well aware of Tyrell Herndon's abilities, and he wasn't scared to pull the trigger because of that.
No, I think one of the problems is the speed. The speed of that right hand and the power he was able to generate from that speed probably contributed to a lot of the knockouts.
Good shout.
The speed isn't there for Wilder. And Wilder's one of the fastest heavyweights. Now, he's not slow, but by his standards, he is slow. And I wonder, is that having an impact on the power? Because this is the first time I can remember. Eric Molina maybe is the only other time he dropped someone with a left hook. Not Wilder left hook. That's right hand all the way.
Yeah, I didn't even know Wilder had a left hook.
Literally.
Honestly, I'm not joking. I didn't know he had a left hook. But his name is Deontay Wilder.
It is.
He is the former long reigning WBC heavyweight champion. And by default, people will call him out. Jarrell Miller has called him out. I think Chisora has mentioned something about it. He will get a big fight next. Whether we like it or not, and I don't want to see him fight again. But whether we like it or not, Deontay Wilder will be in a big fight next time out. Who is that fight against?
I don't think it's going to be against Jarrell Miller. And Jarrell Miller, I don't like it when he did you see the video he uploaded where he was getting very personal with Deontay Wilder? I don't like that. That's distasteful. We don't need to see that. But Chisora, I mean, like, Chisora is looking for fight number 50. I think, like Deontay Wilder, Chisora should maybe hang it up. We're not going to get Chisora White. We don't know if we're going to get him Parker. I wouldn't, genuinely, that could be an interesting fight. They were meant to fight over a decade ago. Do you remember that?
No.
They were, I think it was 2013. There was, I think, announced that they were going to fight. It never happened in the end, obviously. But why not? Why not we do
it? Okay, so certainly not Wilder AJ.
No, I don't think we're going to get Wilder AJ.
Okay.
I don't think we're going to get it.
It's funny because I know it's a big fight, but I know that people are going to tune in regardless. It's a bit like the Khan Brook thing. People would tune in. Oh, don't get me wrong. AJ's clearly not deteriorated as much as Khan and Brook had.
No.
But people waited a decade for Khan Brook, and because you wait for it for so long, you're like, okay, it's happening, let me tune in. But I think it's a big fight. I don't want to see it. I'm just saying I think it's a big fight.
Oh, it's a big fight. But for some reason, Wilder's been the one who's been kind of, I don't want to say dismissive of AJ, not in a I'm going to beat you, but like, oh, I don't need to fight you. So that tells me that he's kind of looking at AJ thinking, I'll go another direction. I don't even want that fight. Now, if Turkey opens a checkbook and there's a big
I don't even think Turkey needs to open the checkbook.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, well, it depends. Unless you're talking silly money, unless you're talking like needing 30s and 40s and things like that.
God.
Okay, if it's just a pay-per-view fight over here, I actually think, again, we spoke about this, the Ben Eubank thing. Maybe because we're hardcore boxing fans, we sometimes forget what the casual boxing fans think and want. And I think the casual boxing fans will think, AJ Wilder, absolutely. Whereas we probably don't.
I think if you think about it like this, you touched on the best point there from a casual boxing fan. All you need to do is show Prime Wilder knocking everyone out and say, this is the guy AJ's fighting. Yeah. They won't even acknowledge the fact that, he was knocked out by, Zhilei Zhang and he didn't look the best against Tyrone Herndon. They'll be just like, that guy, Wilder, oh yeah, Wilder AJ, let's go.
Yeah, and basically. That's what happened. All right, moving on from Wilder, let's talk other boxing on the weekend. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. decided to fight for 2 rounds against Jake Paul. We'll get to the Jake Paul WBA situation, which I know has clearly made you mad.
Yes, it has.
But what's Chavez doing there for 2 rounds? Like literally from rounds 1 to 8, decided I just don't want to fight. And then, okay, 1 second, I'm allowed to fight? Okay, let me fight.
And he had a bit of success when he decided to fight.
When he started fighting, he's like, okay, that too. I don't know, it was a case of he was so scared of his gas tank and felt like, okay, I've only got 2 rounds in me, which makes no sense because he's known about this fight for a few months. But when he started to let his hands go, you could see the difference between a boxer that's been doing it 20 years and a boxer that's been doing it 5 years.
It was night and day. I was looking at this fight and I was thinking, like, seriously, like, why didn't you do this early on? Because it's not like Jake Paul was setting the world alight with a temp early on. I'm like, you could have done that early on and maybe you could have even slowed him down and put him in his place because it was crazy. But you did see the difference between the two. Chavez Jr., I don't know. I mean, this is a guy who's been fighting once a year. He lost to Anderson Silva 4 years ago.
Yeah. He's not actually beat a proper boxer. And when I say proper boxer, I need to be careful. Someone that actually is known as being a boxer for the best part of like...
Andy Lee.
Yeah.
That's probably the last one.
It's going way back, isn't it?
2012.
That's a long time.
It's a long time.
That's a long time.
It's a long time.
Jeez. And look, he's been through some personal stuff. Obviously, I think he checked himself into rehab for alcohol and substance abuse. So I guess just to see him in the ring's a win in a sense. But if you're paying your money to see Chavez Jr. fight, you got to fight. Absolutely. And he fought for 2 rounds. That's embarrassing.
He fought for 2 rounds. But as you say, a lot of people are saying, Chavez Jr. won. I genuinely think Chavez Jr. realised I've only probably got 2 good rounds in me.
That's what I think.
It's not a case. Yes, he is a professional boxer. And you could see the difference when he did let his hands go. When he's pushing 40, he's had a long career, he's been doing this a while, he's had personal issues. That is going to impact you. Your legs can probably literally
but then it's a money
that.
grab, though. Then it's a money grab, which is wrong. I mean, it's wrong because, and like people might say, oh, everyone money grabs. And to an extent, I agree. But people have paid their hard-earned money tickets-wise. People have bought the pay-per-view. You sold it. At the press conference, you was talking all sorts of nonsense. Well, if you sold it, fight. Like, just fight. If you're going to go out on your shield, I'd rather you fight for the first 3 rounds like a madman than the last 2. Give me the first 3 and then we might have a Hagler-Hearn situation where if you get knocked out, you get knocked out. But I'm like, oh my God, he tried to kill him. I'd rather you do that than do it the other way around.
Exactly right. Don't try and win for the first couple of rounds and then, right, now it's time to see what I can do. And if I get him out happy days, it's like, well, why didn't you do that early on?
Or you have a look. Again, you're the more experienced fighter, right? Chavez Jr. has been, by the way, he first laced up a pair of gloves when he was 7. So he's been doing this for 33 years. So have a look at Jake. Like, okay, let me have a look at Jake. What? He's dropping his left? And then surely you should be able to work Jake out. Yeah. Like, I'm really confused when I see these experienced guys fight Jake. I mean, look, Jake's a strong boy, but surely if you're Chavez, the first couple of rounds you have a look at him and then you're like, okay, this is easy. And you just get it done.
Do you think, because Paul, he can clearly punch, do you think that actually people, like someone like a Chavez Jr. is thinking, all right, I could exploit this, but if he exploits something on me and he hits me with that big right hand, there's no coming back from that.
I think that they're scared. I think it's the Tyron Woodley knockout that I think still scares people. Everyone's thinking, I can't get knocked out by a YouTuber.
Exactly.
And then I think Chavez got hit, I think it was in round 7 or 8. And then he's probably thought, wait a minute, I can take these guys' punches. Let's have a fight. And then obviously, look, it was too late. Jake Paul, WBA, go on, the floor's yours.
I hate it. I absolutely flipping hate it. I mean, like, this
Whoa, was that a swear word from G-Man?
Flipping.
Flipping is a swear word? I don't know.
Insert. It's a code word for another word beginning with F. All right? I try and be the good boy out of the two of us. Okay, all right? I leave the swearing to you for the most part, right? Unless something really, gets on me. But no, honestly, I think it's crazy. I think that Jake Paul has literally in his last 2 fights beaten a nearly 60-year-old Mike Tyson, and he's beaten a washed-up Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. There are fighters, there are prospects out there who are probably fighting better, maybe even fighting domestic level opponents who cannot get a ranking. All right, not to say they do anything with it, but they should be at least there in the conversation. Yeah. And you've Jake Paul coming in there. I just don't think it's acceptable. I don't think it's good at all. And I think the WBA, like, I like in the WBA.
Who is it again? Sometimes. Is it Gilberto Mendoza? Who is it?
Gilberto Mendoza is the president. Yeah. I've said, because if you look at their other rankings, even a heavyweight and thing, I honestly wondered that they just get a load of boxers' names in a hat and just pull them out, right? Yeah. You're ranked there, you're ranked there. Because
but this is the worst one.
This is the worst by far.
This is, I'm trying to think, is this worse than what the WBC have done with Pacquiao?
Oh, golly, that's a good question.
It's close, isn't it?
It is close.
It's close. This is like Pacquiao, WBC putting him at number 5, having not won a fight for 5 years and being 45 is criminal. And
when's the last time he fought a WBC sanctioned bout?
Yeah, I can't remember.
Exactly.
So what I guess we're trying to get at people is that all of these governing bodies are a disgrace.
Yeah,
let's have it right. They're all shocking, and that's why I will always scream. And sometimes I get in trouble for this. And people have sent me messages and emails. Trust me, but we need a world governing body.
We absolutely do.
We need a world governing body because someone needs to oversee some of the nonsense in this sport. This isn't against Jake. I did a video actually the other day saying I think Jake deserves some props for him to get in there and actually have a fight when he could make his millions outside of boxing. And the way in which he's put eyeballs on the sport, say what you want. I know some people said negative eyeballs, still eyeballs.
It's still eyeballs.
But for him to be sanctioned and for him to come in at number 14, which basically means in 2 fights' times he's fighting for a world title.
Oh, we could fight for a world title next if Gilberto Ramirez
if someone
wants
calls
to.
Him. Yeah. If Zordo says, I'll fight you, he can fight Zordo.
Yeah, literally. I mean, that ranking, that's why it's so frustrating. It's like you can literally just jump the whole queue. And there are people fighting eliminators, putting money, fighting dangerous fights. And you touched on something there. I done a video on my own channel talk about this, and I was not remotely angry at Jake Paul. I'm not venting at Jake Paul. It's the WBA.
No, this isn't a Jake Paul issue.
Oh, yeah.
No. Yeah, I think I'm happy you said that. This isn't Jake Paul's problem. Again, it's not Manny Pacquiao's problem. It's the sanctioning bodies. Yeah. Like Jake Paul, obviously he would have lobbied to the WBA, but they should have said, absolutely not. No chance. You've got to fight this person, that person, this person. For them to say, okay, cool, we know why they're doing it because ultimately Jake Paul makes a lot of money and they're going to get a lot of money from sanctioning fees, and that's wrong.
No, it's wrong. It's completely wrong. Yeah. And I think they're ruining their own reputation. The WBA are the oldest. They go back even further than the WBC.
It's over 100 years, yeah.
It's crazy that they would do something like this. And again, there are probably fighters in the UK who have fought similar level of opposition And where is their ranking? Well, it's not that rightly so. They shouldn't be ranked. But this is just purely to put eyes on their organization. Oh, Jake Paul's next fight is going to have a WBA trick, a title on the line. Look, aren't we? No, we don't need that.
It harps back to what Dana White said, which is that boxing is broken. Yeah. And it's not broken over here. I think actually over here it's not as bad as America, but America is just a load of nonsense when it comes to boxing and sanctioning fights and who can fight this person. I mean, you will literally wake up one day and someone is in the rankings and you're like, well, 1 second, he wasn't even in the top 20. She weren't, and they're there. That's
I remember
American
Teddy
boxing.
Atlas having a passionate rant years ago. I think it was when Danny Garcia was looking to fight Rod Salka, and they made it non-title. But he was saying, Teddy Atlas was like, don't be surprised if you wake up tomorrow morning and he's ranked.
Yeah.
Because that's what they do.
And that was Rod Selka that came up a weight class, if you remember.
I remember.
Yeah, I remember. All right, we'll get to that another time, the WBA and all that nonsense. Floyd Schofield stole the show.
Oh my God,
He did steal the show. Not Jake, not Zordo. Floyd Schofield knocking out Tevin Farmer in one round.
Incredible.
Is a statement. You don't even need to make a statement. When the back's against the wall and you pulled out the Shakur fight and everyone's like questioning you and your dad and why a Golden Boy making this matchup? This is risky. And then you stop Tevin, who's a Zapata, couldn't stop in 24 rounds.
Nope, and looked terrible. It was dropped.
Incredible.
Williams Zapata, everything. And he's Mr. Punch output. I thought he looked fantastic. It was the composure. It was the shot selection. Floyd Schofield, I mean, honestly, that was the performance of the night. He looks the package. And again...
He's massive for 135.
He's massive for 135.
I've met him face to face, and I've met all of the 135ers. I've met nearly all the top ones. He's the biggest of them all.
He is huge. He is huge.
He's not joking, he's Teofimo Lopez big.
Oh,
maybe even a bit bigger.
Teofimo Lopez at 140 is kind of a bit undersized. So this guy is probably like, he's going to fly at 140, no problem. But he is a very confident young man. Like, I remember at the kickoff press conference for the last Crescendo, he was saying, people were telling me I'll take this fight, but I believe in myself. I'm telling you.
How gutted are we that we didn't get that fight?
Honestly, like, people can say what they want about, oh, he pulled out and this, that, and the other. I truly believe he was sick. He wanted to win. And there's no point going in there. Like, this stark contrast to Chavez Jr., he wants to be optimum when he fights Shakur. And I think, looking at that, I mean, Tevin Farmer, we're all saying, with regard to Shakur Williams Zapata, Tevin Farmer is great preparation for Williams Zapata, for Shakur Stevenson. If that's a similar style, if that's what Floyd Schofield is doing to Tevin Farmer, I'm not saying the same thing will happen.
I hope. Wait, no. I hope you're not saying the same thing, because Shakur Stevenson ain't no Tevin Farmer.
It won't.
Shakur Stevenson is nearly 10 years younger and unbeaten. Tevin Farmer, as good as he is a veteran who has been beaten, who's coming off back-to-back defeats.
Triple defeats.
There you go.
Triple defeats.
But now, all of a sudden, this is what I'm trying to say. Because we didn't get all these fights that we wanted to see, like Devon versus Javante versus so we got Javante versus Shakur. Now we got a young crop coming up. Mm-hmm. Abdullah Mason is part of that young crop as well.
Yep.
Obviously, Keyshawn Davis.
Brian Norman Jr.
There's a young crop of fighters that, you took your time? We're here now to kind of steal the limelight. But congratulations to Floyd Schofield. Very quickly on Zordo. Obviously gets the win over Junior Dorticus. It has to be Jaya Pattaya next. Jaya Pattaya will bust for me. I'm sorry.
Bust. I was impressed with what I seen from Zordo on Saturday
really
night.
Dude.
He's very good.
You know what this does, by the way? Whose stock rises in all these wins?
It does.
No, whose stock rises? Whose stock rises in these Zordo wins?
I think Zordo's stock.
Bivol, who beat Zordo with one hand tied behind his back.
Of course.
And now all of a sudden, seeing what Zordo's doing to some of these cruiserweights. I mean, Bivol just sitting back there thinking, look what I did to Zordo.
Didn't even break a sweat in that fight. Was that the fight where he gave you the jacket?
That was the Canelo one.
That was the Canelo one. That's the Canelo one. No, he beat the brakes off Zordo. I remember at the time thinking, this is going to be tougher than the Canelo fight. It was easier.
Mate, honestly.
It was way easier.
Honestly. But it was a good performance from Zordo.
It was, wasn't it? Yeah. He took some shots from Dorticos, who is a massive puncher. So there's no issue with the chin. He was apparently 220 on fight night. How he made super middleweight, I'll never know.
Even how he made 175.
Honestly, this guy is just huge. He's like a heavyweight in there. I think I would still pick Jaya Pattaya to beat him, right? But this is not going to be like Jaya Pattaya in his last fight or him against, I forget the guy's name, Jack Massey. It's a competitive fight. It's over 12 rounds. And Jaya Pattaya will have his hands full. Mark my words.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great fight. You're right. I'm such a big Jaya Pattaya fan. I think Jaya Pattaya beats everyone with ease. But you're right, he doesn't. I think we saw that against Bradis. When he's in there against another elite fighter, then he does come unstuck a little bit. But I think it's a great fight. And look, Jai wants it. Zordo, I think, wants it. I don't know if Oscar wants it. And I think that's the problem. But in saying that, I always say that about Oscar. Oscar does seem to put his fighters in there.
He will put his fighters in there, but I think he weighs up risk reward sometimes. And I think maybe he's looking at Jaya Pattaya and thinking, if we beat Jaya Pattaya, we get another belt. We're not undisputed. And, do we get, a massive payday? I wonder, is that what he's thinking? I hope it's not. I hope he just says, right, I believe in Zordo. Let's do this fight because I just want to see it. It's a great fight.
Yeah, I have a feeling, by the way, that Zordo's going to try and go to heavyweight as well.
Honestly,
I really have a feeling that he's going to go to heavyweight. He's massive. When you saw the face-off between him and Jake Paul, that's when I realized how big he is because Jake Paul's not small.
No.
And Jake Paul was kind of looking up and I was like, well, God, unless Zordo's wearing heels, like, how is he that much bigger than Jake Paul? Like, Jake Paul's a big guy. He's, like, really solid. And Zordo dwarfed him. I was like, wow, Zordo is a bit of a lump. So, look, let's see what happens. All right, let's get into some news. Okay. Tyson Fury is in Istanbul. Everyone is in Istanbul, I was going to say. This IBA convention. Literally, everyone's there. And Tyson Fury did a scrum. And I don't think he's spoken to the media since he announced his retirement from his car.
No.
He's only done little YouTube and Instagram clips, but this was the first time him speaking to the media. And look, there's so much to take away from it. But I think the interesting thing that I took away from it was there seems to be no interest in an AJ fight, which still shocks me, if I'm honest with you. And I think it's bluff, but that's my own opinion. But he wants Usyk free. Have you seen it? Have you seen the interview?
I've seen the Usyk 3 comments, and I agree with you. He does seem to... Now, I don't think it's bluff.
You don't think?
Truthfully, I do think that that's the only fight that interests him.
I just think with these fighters... I think it always comes down to the numbers on the check. I really do believe that if a check comes across your table and it says, like, without Turkey's involvement, both of these guys are going to make good money because it will do pay-per-view record numbers over here. But really and truly, you're talking 10, 15 million each, right? With Turkey's involvement, potentially it's like 75 to 100 each.
Oh, yeah.
And I almost feel like if the check comes across Fury's table and it says 75 million AJ, then all that bluff, I think, goes out the window.
I think legacy means a lot to Fury. I think that means a lot to him as well. And I think that if he could look at that and think, because he said it a few times, I'm already set for life. What more do I need, right? And I think
he was set for life after the Wilder fights.
He was set for life.
He was set for life after the Wilder fights. I mean, how much more do you need to live in Morecambe? Like what are we talking about?
He was set for life before the Wilder fight.
You know what I mean? He's been okay, right? I mean, unless he wants to buy all of Morecambe, Tyson Fury is set for life. But go on, sorry, I interrupted you. Go on.
No, he was set for life before the Morecambe fight. If that's the case, before the Wilder fight, that's the case. But I do think legacy means something to him, and I think that one thing he will tell himself, and I think he likes this, is that I'm the best fighter of this generation to come out of Britain. If he fights Anthony Joshua and loses, I don't think he will lose. But if he fights Anthony Joshua and loses, well, he can't say that. He can't say he's the best fighter of this generation either. Alexander Usyk beat him twice. And I know he's still saying that he felt that he was hard done by. I watched your video.
But you think he's scared of AJ?
No.
Okay.
I think he's scared of potentially
because I think
losing
most
his
would
legacy.
make him favourite to beat AJ.
I'd make him
I think if you ask 100 people, I mean, honestly, I think it could be like an 80-20 split Fury.
Oh, yeah, I'd make him firm favourite.
Yeah. So I mean, Usyk's a problem. Like, Usyk's harder than Fury, and Usyk's harder than AJ. And maybe because he's lost to Usyk twice, like, it doesn't really affect me if I lose again.
He probably, exactly that. He probably feels like it doesn't affect me if I lose again. He was saying, and I saw your video on it, that he was like, oh, well, I still feel like I was robbed.
Yeah.
I don't feel like you were robbed, personally, in either fights. Even though you said the first fight you thought was close, I didn't feel that myself,
Did you
personally. No, I felt that it was a clear, sound win for Usyk in both fights.
Okay.
So probably more so the second fight. I would agree with you on that. I thought the second fight, it was just there's no way.
I think Usyk he somehow stings AJ and Fury. Like when I spoke to AJ and he got passionate and you can see almost emotional about speaking about Usyk. It's almost like, and we did the look back, didn't we? And it's almost like, how can I not beat this guy? And I think Fury's the same. I think that's why Fury wants to fight him again. It's almost like, how can I not beat you?
But that's what it is. If you're 6'6" in AJ's case, 6'9" in Fury's case, and you're outweighing a guy by 20, 30 pounds, you're thinking, I should be beating you, but I'm not. How is that? What do I have to do? And it stings AJ. We saw that in the ring. Obviously, we didn't watch that in the look back, but we saw it in the ring after. And Fury, it still stings him. They want that trilogy fight. They really desperately want Alexander.
Which
Usyk.
is why no decision about anybody's fights are going to be made until after July 19th. It's literally the reason why we've heard nothing about Catterall, Parker, Chisora, Bacoli, AJ. Until July 19th happens and is wrapped, and the belts get scattered and people might fight for vacant belts, nothing's going to be announced. Everyone is waiting to see what happens.
Yeah, everyone's waiting to see what happens. Something Usyk, if he wins, may retire.
I think he
potentially.
should.
I think that's a great way to go out. But no, everyone is waiting to see, will we get a crack at Usyk? Will those belts be vacant? What is going to happen?
Okay, can I... Quick game.
Yeah.
You know me, I like a quick game.
Oh, I know.
Okay, if Usyk wins and stays on, who's he fighting next?
If Usyk wins and stays on,
who's he fighting
next? Fury.
Oh, because of what? Because of this Fury thing?
No, but because Mauricio Sullivan last week in an interview, I don't know if you saw it, was on Boxing Scene, said that
I barely watched Mauricio Sullivan
should
interviews.
Fury decide to come back, he will be stated as #1 challenger with the WBC.
That's madness.
So,
So
straight crack.
Okay, if Dubois wins and becomes undisputed, who is Daniel Dubois fighting next? Because it won't be Fury.
No, it won't be Fury.
Is it AJ or Parker? Those are the two options for me.
Now you've got me with that one. The fact that Dubois has said he desperately wants to fight Parker because he was upset about how the last crescendo went.
But AJ can step in. Let's be honest. If AJ says, I'm fighting you, AJ's fighting him.
I'm going to say he fights AJ.
Woo!
Not necessarily the fight I'd be saying for AJ. I wouldn't be giving him much of a chance of winning, but I think...
You wouldn't give AJ a chance of beating Dubois? Am I reacting like that just because of he's my boy? Is that what it is?
I think so.
No, I
love AJ.
You don't think AJ can beat Daniel Dubois?
Not after what I saw in Wembley Stadium. Love AJ, would love to say different. Nah, man, I'm sorry, mate. It's not happening.
Oh, okay. No, fair. I get it. All right, let's move away from that, by the way. By the way, that IBA convention's incredible.
It's incredible.
Like
everyone, like it's a who's who.
There. You know when everyone's there and you're like, why am I not there?
Exactly.
You're like, why am I not there? Because literally everyone is out there, which is incredible. But good luck to all the people out there. Good luck as well to Jazza Dickens.
Yes.
Jazza Dickens fighting, main event.
I mean, Jazza Dickens, I've seen so many of his fights over the years. Jazza Dickens is like someone where when I think he's, counted out, he pulls something out of the bag. I thought he was done after he fought Kit Galahad at Fight Camp. I think you were there actually.
I was there for it. He got busted up.
And what was it, a year later, he's IBO champion.
Beats Zelfa Barrett.
Yeah, exactly.
Beats Zelfa Barrett comfortably.
Soundly.
So that's why I feel like I would never rule out Jazza Dickens against anybody in and around that weight class.
No.
Although the guy's fighting's unbeaten, he's not fought the level of Jazza Dickens.
Well, Jazza Dickens has forgotten more than this guy's probably ever learned.
Yeah, but Jazza being 34, fighting away from home, good luck to him. Who knows, right? Who knows how it will play out. Canelo Crawford, it's done. The press tour is over. Both of those guys now chill out and then they start camp. Crawford's in Turkey as well, by the way. But they chill out, then start camps. A couple of things that we know I'm thinking from a broadcast standpoint, John Anik, who's the UFC play-by-play, is going to be the boxing play-by-play. That's obviously a Dana White move.
That's a Dana White move if I ever saw one.
Yeah, that's very interesting because there are so many good boxing play-by-play guys, like so many. Like, forget the fact about Max Kellerman. Max is Max. Max is going to get in, right? But John Anik, who I love, but he's a UFC MMA guy.
I know. It's going to be so bizarre listening to that and thinking, this is a boxing match. Yeah. What am I listening to? But no, look, don't knock it till you try it.
Yeah,
I think he'll do a good job. He's got plenty of preparation, plenty of time. Don't knock it till you try it.
Oh, no, he will smash it out of the park. I've no doubt about it. He will smash it out of the park. Where are you now? Because, again, I guess it keeps switching, right? Because we see a little bit more from both. Where are you now and who wins that fight?
I'm exactly where I was a week ago. Canelo wins.
Who? Canelo?
Canelo wins.
Okay.
If I change my mind, it's not going to happen. Terence Crawford is one of my all-time favorite fighters. Not just one of my favorite fighters, one of my all-time. I've loved him since I first watched him years ago. But he ain't winning this fight. Wow. And nothing has changed my mind. The only thing that would change my mind is if Canelo announced, I'm going into the fight, but I've just lost an arm, but I'm still going to fight. Then I might say, yeah.
Well, one second.
Probably wins.
You're shitting on Crawford here too much.
No, I know.
So basically, you're saying if Canelo had one arm, then Crawford's got a chance. This is the unbeaten Terence Crawford. This is the 2-weight undisputed 3-weight world champion, or 4-weight world champion, Crawford. 35, 40, 47, 54.
Yeah, 4-weight world champion.
Yes. And you're like, no chance. How can he have no chance? He's definitely got a chance.
Well, think of it like this.
He's taken less damage than Canelo.
Yes, he has.
Canelo looked awful against Skull. Looked like the legs had finally decided to pack it in after 20 years. Taken a lot of punishment.
Okay.
And he's been beaten. He knows what that tastes like, whereas Crawford has never been beaten.
Okay, fair points, right? But I will say this. Terence Crawford, when he's been in the ring, he's always stood his ground. He's not going to run like William Skull, right? Canelo likes it when fighters stand in front of him. And Crawford will have never, if he thought Errol Spence, if he thought Ray Beltran, if he thought Israel Madrimov hit hard, just wait until Canelo starts lighting you up with combinations. And then tell me, Crawford has never been hit anywhere near as hard as Canelo. Canelo was a big puncher. I know he's not knocking people out these days, but he's dropping them, right?
He's hurting them.
Canelo's been hit by Triple G, Danny Jacobs, Sergei Kovalev. He's been hit by people who are twice as naturally bigger. He's been hit by light heavyweights, for God's sakes. Terence Crawford's been hit by welterweights and a 154-pounder.
Okay, see the problem with what you're doing right now? You're making this into a power punching session as opposed to a boxing match. And I could say everything you just said there, you could apply to a Floyd Canelo thing. This isn't about who hits the hardest, because the aim of boxing is to hit and not get hit. And I feel like Crawford has more ability to not get hit than a Canelo.
Yes, he does have more ability, but this is where the punching power comes in. How much will he be willing to throw? Because it's one thing, Crawford could move around the ring and outmaneuver Canelo. But
he won't win the rounds.
William Skull did that, but did he win the rounds? And if he feels that punching power, and crucially, he's not... Listen, if you're taking Triple G's shots, you can take Crawford's shots. He is not stopping Canelo Alvarez. No way. That's why I think Canelo wins. Probably on points.
I do think Crawford's power is very underrated. Like, how shocked... I know everyone's going to say he was done. I know all that. Everyone's going to say... But how shocked were you when he dropped Spence like that?
Oh, man, I jumped out of my seat.
Busted his face up.
Yeah.
Spence a big boy. But then again, he couldn't really hurt Madrimov, could he?
He couldn't really put a dent in Madrimov. And yeah, he was stopping guys well. You know, he was stopping them well. He was hurting them. All well and good. But again, this is Canelo Alvarez. This is Canelo Alvarez who... Look, Crawford is going to go to 168 pounds, and I wouldn't be shocked if he weighs in 165, and that's him with all fully hydrated. Canelo is going to be drained on those scales as well. He's going to be hit by a guy, Terence Crawford, a guy who's over 180 pounds, who can punch. And then he's going to be thinking, all right, I'm going to have to be careful what I do here. Punch output's going to drop. Canelo is going to be, you know...
Should we do a friendly wager then on this?
We'll do a friendly wager.
A bottle of something nice, a bottle of whiskey.
Bottle of whiskey.
Okay, cool. Bottle of whiskey. There you go. I'm going Crawford to get the job done.
Oh, this is going to be easy. Bottle of whiskey.
Okay, we'll see. Let's talk Benn Eubank, now signed and sealed for September 20th, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So although me and you were like, no, don't do it again, they're doing it again.
I'm doing it again.
And it's going to be enormous again.
It's going to be enormous again. And look, I will watch. Even
100%.
I said in the video last week, I thought it served its purpose. That's not going to stop me from watching it because I think it's going to be just as good as the first fight. I'm interested in it. It's going to be with Riyadh season. So whereas the last one was Ring Magazine.
Oh, is it?
Yes, this one is with Riyadh and Sella, whereas the last one was a Ring Magazine exclusive.
Doesn't matter,
show.
does it?
It doesn't really matter. It's much of a muchness, but I just thought it's interesting. Because we've never had a UK Riyadh show yet. Oh, sorry, we have.
We have. Yeah.
With Dubois, Joshua. But still, looking forward to it. It's going to be interesting to see what Benn can improve on in that fight. Eubank, though.
Benn was actually speaking to Terence Crawford in Istanbul.
Yeah, he's
There's a little clip where, all there. And he's asked, like, he's basically saying, I know what to improve on. And Crawford's actually giving him things like, you need to work on your stamina because you got really tired. And he said, you need to work on it. Someone was clearly recording them when they shouldn't have because the person moved away. But he said something along the lines, you need to work on your pull counter, I think he said. You're almost not disguising your shots enough because he doesn't.
No, he doesn't. You can tell with Conor Benn, he loads up way too much. And Crawford, well, he's been in camp with Chris Eubank Jr. Remember Bomac?
Yeah.
So Crawford will have seen, and Crawford has that mind where he's looking at Chris Eubank thinking, "You're doing this wrong. You're doing this wrong. You're doing this wrong."
Yeah.
So the best person to learn
imagine
from.
what Crawford would do to Eubank, light him up.
Oh man!
Just in terms of seeing the holes.
Yeah.
He'll light him up all day long. But yeah, that happened September 20th. No idea on the undercard, obviously, yet. Way too early. But both guys are getting paid.
They are getting paid.
My only problem for this fight, and I guess we're going to get an announcement on it soon, although Mike Coppinger has already kind of leaked it. He's basically said that it's exactly the same stipulations in terms of the weight and the rehydration cap. And I'm like, Chris nearly died the first time. Like, this is getting stupid. Like, okay, make it 160, right? Because obviously Conor can't fight at 168, but then let them rehydrate to whatever they want. Let them just fully rehydrate.
Well, that's it. And like, I make Conor Benn, if it's the same stipulations, I make Conor Benn favourite because I think that Eubank pulled that performance out in spite of all the stipulations. I don't think he can do it again. Certainly not after the last time. If you're Conor Benn and you win, is that not a tainted win? Like, can you really celebrate that?
No, yeah, absolutely.
Like, Eubank can celebrate.
Absolutely, you can celebrate. Everyone does these rehydration nonsense. Why can't he not celebrate? Everyone celebrates these wins.
Well, hang on a second.
He's still the we saw it in the first fight. He's still the much smaller guy.
He is still much
He
smaller
looks so small in that ring compared to Chris Eubank.
Eubank barely sweated in the ring. That's how dehydrated he was. Yeah. Eubank literally barely sweated in the
That's
ring.
what everyone's saying. I don't know if that's true. Everyone's saying that, aren't they? Because there was no water in him. Everyone's saying I don't know.
It's true.
He looked enormous in there. I'd love to know what he weighed in the ring.
I would as well, but at the end of the day, he still had to adhere. And you know, people can say, "Oh, Conor Benn did too." Didn't affect him. He's the guy. He's really 147 pounds,
and he's the younger of the two as well.
He's the younger.
One thing I did realize, like Conor recovered so much more quickly.
Oh yeah.
Remember, Conor was in New York a couple of days later, and you wouldn't even know by his face he had a fight. No. Whereas we know Chris was in hospital. Chris's eye his face still looked a bit puffy. At that age, it takes you a lot longer to recover from those beatings. So I do make Conor a favourite as well.
Firm favourite.
So you're doing this firm favourite thing again.
Oh, firm
So you've started again. Canelo, Conor, just the C's, isn't it for you?
But it's one or the other with me. I'm never hot or cold. I'm never in the middle. I'm always hot or cold. No, that performance from Chris Eubank Jr. That's a once at this stage in his career. Pull it out. I don't think he can do it again.
Yeah. Okay. Very quickly on Eubanks. Obviously, Harlem Eubank this weekend takes on Jack Catterall.
He does.
Gone under the radar.
Criminally under the radar.
Yeah, gone under the radar big time this one, especially considering it's Jack Catterall, who last time out fought Arnold Barboza in front of a few thousand. It's a
great fight.
Harlem's got a bit of a fan base as well. And this is so a must win for Jack Catterall. Like, he can't lose to Harlem Eubank. He can't lose back to back, but he especially can't lose to Harlem Eubank. And that's not discrediting Harlem Eubank, but we know where Jack is. Jack's a world level fighter. Harlem could be British level. I don't know.
Well, he's a world level fighter at 140. This is at 147.
Yeah, but they're both really 140 guys. That's why I mean, Harlem was going to fight Adam Azim. Harlem's only had one fight at 147. So they're really both 140 guys coming up.
Yeah, yes, it is two 140 guys trying to establish themselves at 147. Jack Catterall should win. And if he loses this, then we really gotta take a look and say, well, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Because Harlem Eubank has been pro a long time, and he's always been on the domestic scene. He's always tried to, like he was willing to fight Adam Azim, it didn't happen. But Jack Catterall should have been undisputed world champion. So if he's going in there against Harlem Eubank, he's losing, then we got to really ask questions about what's going on here. Yeah. I don't think he will. I think we'll have a good performance from Jack Catterall. I think that he will soundly outbox Harlem Eubank.
Yeah, same. He for some weird reason, I saw a statement from him today saying Josh Taylor, like the Josh Taylor fights on the trilogy on the horizon. I'm like, dude, Josh Taylor just lost to Echo Usyk. Like, I'm questioning whether Josh should still fight. Let alone, like, if I'm Jack Catterall, I'm thinking about, okay, I was that close and should have become undisputed, but I at least got to win a world title in my career. Yeah. So I'm looking for the avenue that takes me close to a world title at 140 or 147. And Josh Taylor doesn't do that. Or maybe it's now money fights. What is he, 32, 33?
Not. I mean, if I was Jack Catterall, I would be saying Paddy Donovan, Lewis Crooker, all in matchroom. The winner of that's going to be IBF champion. I want the winner.
He looks so small compared to those guys.
He does that, but when I think of Jack Catterall, I'm like, oh my God, look at that.
Now you said that. Like, Lewis Crocker looks so much bigger. Don't I think about that?
Paddy Donovan's a unit compared to Jack Catterall. But surely that's what he should be mentioned. If he wants a world title, he should have been world champion. Yeah. That's a match that's in-house, right? So there you go. Why not? And
the Arnold Barboza thing just fucked things up.
I think it has.
Like, it's just ruined everything, isn't it? I mean, you had Barboza at home.
Yep.
And you lost. Do you know, like, and then Barboza then fights Tio and looks bad.
Oh, looks awful.
Looks awful. So if Barboza went life and death with Tio, it really helps your stock. Like, okay, fair enough, I lost to that guy. Because he lost in a wimpy fight to Tio, it's like, oh.
Do you think it's I don't want to speak for Jack Catterall, but do you think that Barboza-Tio fight was a reminder, oh my God, that's how far off I am? If I lost to Barboza and he's doing that, am I really this far off?
And maybe that's the reason for the jump. Maybe it's like, okay, right, I see a path. Now Ennis Boots has gone from 147. Maybe I can see an opening there, and Crawford's Boots with Going is vacated 2 belts. So there's now belts there. There's 3 belts basically just lying around. So maybe he's probably thought, there's a way to get a belt at 147 quicker than 140.
Possibly, but he is so undersized. When you said Paddy Donovan and the size,
he's undersized.
Man, they will literally.
Yeah, but he's probably thinking Ryan's undersized, Haney's undersized, Teofimo Lopez is coming up undersized. So all of a sudden, Stanionis ain't big. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Barrios was a 140 guy who's come up to 147. So there's guys there that aren't. It's not. They're not. None of these guys right now at 147 can do the jump to 154. Is what I'm getting at. So apart from Brian Norman, they're all small 147s. So that's probably why Jack's probably thinking, you know what, I can do the 147 as well. Who wins very quickly?
Oh, Jack and Harlem. Oh, Jack, easy.
Oh, here we go. The easy thing.
Well, easy
The
enough.
C thing as well. Catterall. The C thing. Yeah.
C.
Catterall, Canelo, Conor.
Okay, yeah, Catterall, Canelo, Conor, triple C.
Triple C.
Triple C.
There you go. All right, guys. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Ade and Gman. I keep forgetting what number you're on. Subs.
24,500. Damn. 24,500.
So close to 25.
25.
I mean, how can 25 be so difficult to get to?
I'll hit 25
Are
this
people
month.
not subbing?
I will hit 25 this month. I know I will.
Yeah?
I'll hit 25 this month and I will get my 30K by the end of the year.
Okay, there you go. I hope he does. I hope he does. We're looking at that camera there, G-Man. That's the camera we're looking at. We're looking at this one. Hopefully, G-Man does get to his 30 by the end of the year. I'll get to my 100. I'm very, very confident of it. But guys, you know what to do. Like, share, subscribe. And if you want to come to the Green Chair Live, G-Man will be there. The link to the tickets is in the description.
Champions are not born. They're forged. This is about turning the ordinary into undisputed. Available now. Ade Oladipo, brought to you by Undisputed.